Hey guys, welcome to the Mr. Maple Show. I'm Matt. It's officially fall. Gardeners everywhere are rejoicing.
I'm Tim. Welcome to the 10 at 10 video. Today is Tuesday, and every Tuesday we list 10 new trees on our website on MrMaple.com. Now, this week we're actually listing a full 20 trees. So go to MrMaple.com at 10 a.m. You'll see the full listing pop up directly at 10 a.m. If you want to get a heads up on that, sign up for a weekly email, and you'll get an email sent to you with the full listing of 20 trees at 9 a.m. so you can go ahead and prepare for what you want to check out very quickly at 10 a.m.
We got some home run hitters here today, guys. So get excited about this. This is the 10 at 10 for September 27th of 2022. So our sizes right now, if you're watching this later, could be slightly larger or slightly smaller, but these are very typical for September of 2022. Now, we've got some hitters here today, guys. I think you're gonna like this lineup. And again, like Tim said, this is just 10. So let's dive into it. Today, first up on the table, we've got Acer palmatum yellow threads.
Now, I love yellow threads. With some sunlight, this is one of the most yellow lunar lobum style. Think of everything you like about almost like a cotonoito or a scolopendrifolium, but with more yellow color.
Check out our full breakdown of yellow threads. We got a full video on this. We've got a really beautiful specimen-sized tree, rarely seen at that size already. And I think you're gonna love this one, guys. This one brings everything you love about a lunar lobulum style Japanese maple, but with spring yellow. This one's gonna have an electric yellow in the early spring. I love this one right at dawn. It's a highlighter in the garden. Really shows out. Some great golden oranges to yellows in the fall as well. But that spring color is so unique and kind of one of the first of its kind. It's kind of one of those very first of those lunar lobulums to exhibit that bright yellow coloration.
And if you know the Ghost series, this is by the same guy, Talon Buchholz, who's a friend of ours, who introduced the Ghost series. This is from the Floral Wonder Collection, is what he calls his collection of plants. And it comes out of the same class as types like Geisha Gone Wild or Japanese Princess. And this is still one of my favorite plants that he's introduced. I mean, it's very unique and very different.
So we recently did a video on late summer new growth. A lot of this new growth is going to be a little bit larger right now, but still lunar lobulum styled. This one's going to keep that tight lunar lobulum foliage to it. You're going to love this one, guys. We've got some great sizes in this. We haven't offered it in a little bit of a while, Brian was reminding me, so these may not last long. You're definitely going to want to get on board with this one, though. Acer palmatum yellow threads. It's a winner for sure.
Now, one thing to remember on our website, and I say this every 10 at 10 so people know, it doesn't hold it for you when you have it in your cart, when you're shopping on MrMaple.com. So 10 a.m. you go add these to your cart. They're not held for you till you check out. So make sure you check out quickly. That way you can get a hold of these plants before they sell out on MrMaple.com. Oh, next up we've got Acer subordinam Kumoniski.
Guys, we're always working to get extra Acer pseudo subordinams and subordinam cultivars on here. Today's no exception. We've got a Seabold maple coming to you. Kumoniski is one of my favorite variegated forms. Really, outside of palmatum, it's you can just say that. Outside of Acer palmatum, this one stands out. There's not many japonicums, shirosawinums, seaboldianums, or pseudo-seaboldianums that bring this level of drama. This one has the variegation and all the cold hardiness of Acer seaboldianum.
I think the first time we ran into this plant, we were at NJ Acer's garden, and one of the guys who brought it back from Japan was there, and we got one directly from him. And we were so excited about this plant because, like Matt said, there's not another maple that has that full moon style leaf that has a variegation that's stable.
Yeah.
And this one definitely is very stable with that.
Extremely stable. Now, this one's not going to be as wide as Ukigumo, but it's in that similar sand dusting variegated style. It is boldly variegated, more consistent than Ukigumo. It might not be as white, but it's more consistent and in a class of its own for plants, especially outside of palmatum. I've not seen anything this variegated, in section palmata besides in a palmatum. I mean, this is a showstopper. It just brings the high drama. I love this one when it gets into the fall. All the areas where you're seeing that bright white turn to a light pink, and the areas that are dark green turn to a bold red. Just brings the drama all season. Again, this one's an Acer seaboldianum, so you're gonna be able to push cold tolerance as well.
Now, this is extremely variegated, so if you give it some protection from the hot afternoon sun, you're gonna get the best growth rates and the best foliage on this plant if you give it some protection from the hot afternoon sun. But an amazing plant that is very unusual and very different. And while this variegation is amazing right now and it's amazing in the spring, in the fall when this goes to reds with white and pink variegation, it's spectacular as well.
Hey guys, a hybridizer's dream. Get us some even more variations of this one. Some of the plant geeks out there. We'll be looking through seeds of this for sure. It is a very unique cultivar. I can't say enough good things about this one. You're definitely going to want to add it to your collection. The colors on it alone, I mean, besides the cold tolerance, the colors on it alone are spectacular. Well, we've got another one here on the table that might not last all day. You want to go ahead and check out early with this one. This one's Acer palmatum Mayday.
Acer palmatum Mayday, awesome dwarf Japanese maple. All right, we're done talking about this one because it's a sell it really quickly. No, just playing. This one is a Makawa type, it's one of our favorites. Real slow grower. Definitely gives you some really nice orange peachy colors in the spring when it first leaves out. Yeah. You've got a gorgeous one at your garden.
Oh, I've got some large ones there in our garden. 20-year-old specimen of Mayday that's probably every bit of 4 foot with a 3 foot spread to it. Really nice plant. We'll have to get it on camera soon, do a whole highlight on that. Guys, these always sell out, but just remember every single time we list them, they're getting easier to get. So don't kill the messenger here. They'll definitely sell out very quickly at 10 a.m. today. Whenever we list some of these newer Makawa types, they're always gone. I know Talon's retiring, so there's been less production on Mayday. So it has been harder to get. We don't gouge you though. We keep our prices the same even when the demand's really high on this one, so we're keeping those prices down. I've seen these go at auction for crazy amounts lately. Again, that's not what we're about here at Mr. Maple. Every single time we offer them, they're gonna get easier to get, and we just keep upping production numbers on this one. So if you miss out today, don't fret, it'll be back on a 10 at 10. We're gonna keep churning this one out. We've got some beautiful stock plants this we can continue to graft from, and it's one we're always working to get back in stock.
So next up, we've got a selection by Skeeter Rod. Acer palmatum, Skeeters Broom.
Skeeters Broom is an excellent tree. It makes a tall, narrow habit to it. Not quite as narrow as Twombly's Red Sentinel, so it's gonna give you a little bit more width to it in time, but a beautiful upright selection.
And a little faster growing than something like a Twombly's Red Sentinel. Someone asked me the other day and I said, Twombly's Red Sentinel is more like a DeGroot Spire to this one's Emerald Green. Yeah. It's not quite as fast as growing as Emerald Green, but it's much faster and a little bit wider growing for sure.
Great analogy. You get cherry red new growth on this one still, holds its color really well, and a bright scarlet red in the fall.
And Skeeter, this is the same guy who named Elizabeth after his wife. So really cool that he's a guy who found a lot of mutations on Japanese maples, but this one is one that really has some really good fall color. I think that Richard Bomar has a big one down at his garden.
Beautiful specimen.
Down in South Carolina. And
shout out to Richard Bomar, instrumental guy in helping our nursery get started.
And we fell in love with Skeeters Broom at his place. And we've got some photos, I believe in fall color, of Skeeters Broom at his house. And he's just got a gorgeous specimen. It made us plant one at Maplewood Gardens. And really, really good fall color, very consistent once it gets established.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Skeeters Broom. Great shape, great plant. You know, semi-screening, like if you want a Twombly's but you want a little bit more width to it, it's a great plant for that. Definitely more in that columnar narrow habit, but a little bit wider. Great overall habit to it. Great color changes too.
Yeah, I'm in love with Skeeters Broom. Definitely a good red upright that has that more narrow shape, very compact. And because of that, it really adds a lot to the landscape.
So guys, we hadn't been staking a lot of these. You could see if we stake these up, we could probably go ahead and stick some of these into 3 gallons. Next up on the table, we've got Acer palmatum dissectum lemon chiffon.
You may have seen our Red Maple Nurseries videos. This is one of the Red Maple Nurseries introductions. This has some really gorgeous lemon colored new growth. And this is a plant that is really unusual and different for being a green weeping lace leaf.
We'll start fighting back with this one over here.
Oh, sorry.
Awesome plant, noted for that yellow coloration, especially in the fall. This one goes through some golden yellow changes. It's a little bit more picked up highlightery color the whole year. Love this one for its dwarfer overall habit. Makes a great candidate for a container garden or in the ground. Beautiful specimen plant though.
These are coming from our cold frame settings where they've been in 55% shade. If you give them a little morning sun, it'll really peak up those yellow colored new growth on lemon chiffon as well. Awesome plant. And these you'll see are mostly low grafted that we were offering on Mr. Maple. Definitely got some really good sizes on the Acer palmatum dissectum lemon chiffon. That's also not going to last very long. It's been a while since we've listed lemon chiffon on Mr. Maple.
Not to be confused with lemon lime lace, Del Alex introduction. The lemon chiffon, another lemon in the name there. Amazing tree though. And again, the best time to stake is mid to late March, but you could stake these now and get some considerable height. When staking a Japanese maple like this, it's going to weep from the uppermost point. So you can see you can get some considerable size in the ground for this fall.
And make sure to check out the video that Matt did on how to stake a Japanese maple, how to stake a tree. You can definitely learn a little bit on what you can do and some ways you can do that. So next we've got Cypress obtusa mauricia. Now this is a cool dwarf compact Enoki Cypress.
Lovely colors on this one. I love that it kind of gets that that underside with that yellow frosting to it, that white frosting to it. A great smaller overall plant. Really nice emerald green, very consistent colors to this one as well.
And this is a plant too, if you give it some sunlight, this one will really peak up those yellow colors on this plant.
Yeah, this one's a nice compact form. Not really a screening plant. It looks like it could be, but it's going to be a smaller one.
Yeah, very dense, and it's going to get about 3 to 4 feet tall by about 3 to 4 foot wide. Definitely a pretty unique Enoki Cypress. That's Cypress obtusa mauricia. Good as zones 5 through 9. Love the Enoki Cypresses. Enoki Cypresses have been used in Japanese gardens for hundreds of years. And this selection gives you everything you love about Enoki Cypresses with a little more flair.
Yeah, great size on these. Also a great way to block out a small area. So if you've got something you don't need the height on, but you want to provide some cover, great plant to screen that out. So next up we have Ruby Stars, also known as Beni Hoshi.
This is a plant that I fell in love with because we had one in the ground at MrMaple Gardens. We ended up moving it. But this one here has some really, really nice red colors in the spring. Really almost like a brick red color. It's not your typical maroon, more brick red in the spring.
Really nice veining to it too. You get that green etching throughout each leaf. It's not really reticulated, but it gives you those vibes, right? You definitely get those reticulated plant vibes with Beni Hoshi. A lot of people say Beni Hoshi and Ruby Stars are different plants. I think they're identical. Beni Hoshi actually translates as Ruby Stars. Phenomenal plant to be growing in the garden.
Now the thing I love most about Beni Hoshi is actually the fall color. And we ended up getting a large stock plant. So the reason why we ended up moving the one at Maplewood Gardens was because we got a really large stock plant from
the buyout of Highland Creek.
Buyout of Highland Creek from Bryant Upchurch. And the fall color of just that yellow is so outstanding going on a dwarf red.
Yeah, it's quite shocking for people. A lot of people said, hey, are you sure you got this photo correct? I know it's a dark red in the spring. Yeah, one of the cool things about Ruby Stars are it lights up that fall with some bright yellows to oranges.
This is an upright dwarf, so it fits in a lot of people's landscape. And the fact that it goes from this brick red color to the yellow fall color, it makes it something that's very unique and different in the Japanese maple world.
Now, a real fun pairing for Beni Hoshi would be Summer Gold. They're going to be similar in shape, similar in size, but very different colors. The Ruby going gold in the fall, and the Summer Gold going more red in the fall. So really fun pairing there for dynamic spring interest, but also dynamic fall interest between the two.
I like where you're going with this. Maybe even more yellow, something like a Golden Falls. Same thing, contrasting styles, depending on what you want to pair with. Amazing plant that is really unique and can pair with a lot of cool plants out there. And
definitely check out Beni Hoshi today.
So next we've got Acer palmatum dissectum Emma.
So I have a niece named Emma, so I love this plant. Great plant. I actually have this one planted in the garden next to the hot blonde I named for Amy. Amy had to get all of her nieces in the garden too, so I've got to name some more trees after nieces apparently, but had to have Emma there with the tree I named after my wife.
So this is a weeping lace leaf. These are all low grafted. That ends up in the early spring, it's got more of that orange red color. It's not your maroon, it's an orange red.
It's very unique in its spring color.
There's a lot of plants we've got in here that's not your typical you're not your typical Japanese maple you find in the nursery trade, and Emma's definitely one of those. This is a plant that goes to a nice bronze color during the summer, then to a nice emerald green, and then gives you some really nice yellows to oranges in the fall.
Yeah, this one's just a beautiful plant. Very unique dissectum, so it's going to give you that low weeping habit. It's a little dwarfer than some of the other weeping ones. Makes a great candidate for a container garden. Again, these are going to work zones 5 through 9. Very, very durable plant for us though. I've seen this work in good sun up to zone 8 too. So exceptional there. You get some really nice spikes of pink on top of that in the sunlight too. So that late summer new growth is really showy over top of that older growth as well.
Yeah, I like that plant. It's definitely a lace leaf that's very unique and very different. And when you have a collection of Japanese maples, it's awesome to get plants that are unusual and different and stand out from the crowd.
I don't even know if we can get this one in the camera. These are huge 1 gallons, guys. Next up on the table, we've got Acer palmatum Strawberry Fields. Cue the Beatles music right now. Some giant 1 gallons of Acer palmatum strawberry fields.
We listed strawberry fields earlier in the spring. We'd sold out on the majority of the set, and then we found another set. It's not a very large set, so it's gonna sell out pretty quickly.
Really cool colors on this.
Had to get it relisted though, because everybody's been signing up for notifying when this tree is becoming available again. And
it's highly requested to get back in stock.
this is a plant that was actually given to us years and years ago by Jonathan Savlich, the same person who introduced Lillians Jewel. And amazing plant. We actually traded him some plants. And
right.
He said, well, if you want to name it and introduce it, and we're like, yes, we do.
Really cool plant. Now we're here in September at some of the greenest times of year for this. This is going to be a heavily reticulated palmatum, almost like that Go Series style, famous for having bright strawberry pink new growth in the early spring over top of some almost elmwood-like older growth. So you get some really interesting contrast going on within this plant. It's been a good vigorous plant for us too. I mean, it's not uncommon for this one to grow over a foot of growth a year, which makes it pretty fast for a reticulated plant. And just exceptional colors on this one.
It's kind of interesting. We were introducing Strawberry Fields. Town Buckholz was introducing Strawberry Spring. We were introducing Hot Blonde.
He was introducing Blonde Beauty.
Blonde Beauty. So
I could probably keep going for a while with that if we really stop and think about it. On the same wavelength.
On the same wavelength, yeah. We weren't sharing names. Just happened to be we were on the same wavelength on a lot of names.
Well, we did have a seedling that was a sister seedling to, we've got a whole classic rock collection. So we had a sister seedling to Dragon Master that didn't make the cut. Dragon Master was the best one of the group. We were calling the sister seedling Yellow Submarine. So I think we were in that Beatles line of thinking when we came across Strawberry Fields. And we were evaluating this one. We actually evaluated this for a few years before we put it out there and just knocked our socks off, guys. It's a fun plant. If you can provide it with more early morning sun, late day shade, you'll hold those spring colors longer into spring. But it's been quite heat tolerant for us. Again, zones 5 through 9. Definitely shade in zone 9, but phenomenal plant. Very, very vigorous grower for a reticulated form as well.
Yeah, definitely an awesome plant from the Area 51 collection. And again, while we have a decent set of these, they're not nearly as large as we had before. It's likely going to sell out pretty quickly. Make sure you check out pretty quickly with the Strawberry Fields. So next up, we've got Acer palmatum Lillians Jewel. Those things are huge.
You see why we put the big ones to the sides of the table so you can see us. Lillians Jewel, another one by our friend Jonathan Savlich. Shout out to Jonathan Savlich. He's Del Locke's grandson. Named some really cool plants, really good at evaluating talent. And he found this one and got it into the trade. We got the first one that him and Del actually ever sold. So we traded them a lot of cool stuff for a while. You've heard us talk about Lillians Jewel. We've got full videos on that here on our website, but always in our top 10. I mean, you know, we joke that it's so hard to say your favorite Japanese maple, but I think pretty much everybody here at the nursery, when they see this one, it's always in our top 10 or top 5. I mean, it's always at the top of the list. Most consistent for this one is the most consistent dark red with bright pink variegation. You know, with any of these styles, you want to prune out any all red you see, but it is consistently stable. It is by far the most consistent of the dark red and dark pink forms.
And this thing is spectacular. The spring colors, the summer flushes during the summer, where you get the red and that pink on there with ununiform variegation style. There's other types out there that aren't as stable as this.
Right.
And this is the most stable of that style, and it is just spectacular.
I'll tell you what blows me away about this. This was one of our top plants in 09, and it's still on that list. So that should tell you something. We've gotten it out there to a lot of other producers. I know we traded with Talon Buckholz and sent him some of this, and Talon started offering it, so it's getting out there to more garden centers. More people are finding it. But Acer palmatum Lillians Jewel is a showstopper. We've got some phenomenal sizes in these right now. They're kind of tall, skinny ones, but you can see these are some great growth going on these right now, and strongly variegated. That's one thing you can count on from MrMaple. We'll send you out a strongly variegated plant.
And the name on this is Acer palmatum Lillians Jewel. If you see someone selling it under the name Little Ann's Jewel or selling it under Extravaganza, the correct name is Lillians Jewel. So make sure to tell the people selling it, hey, I think you got this mislabeled.
We like to get the name right for our friend there. I've actually met Lillian. She's a sweet girl. I was corresponding with her last year, actually. And hey, Acer palmatum Lillians Jewel, can't say enough good things about this plant. You're going to love it. It is a showstopper in the garden. This is going to work zones 5 through 9. give it some shade in that heavy zone 9. If you give this one even a little bit of morning sun up to zone 8, you're gonna peak up those reds. If you're giving it heavy shade, what's gonna happen is it's gonna be a little bit more pink, green, and white in heavy shade. So it's still a very unique color, but if you're getting a little bit of morning sun in there, you're gonna brighten up that pink and red coloration.
I know this is a plant that has shocked us how heat tolerant it is for being variegated.
Right.
I mean, Richard Bomar got one of the first 2 Lillians Jewels, and he had it down there in Simpsonville, South Carolina. In sun.
Yeah.
And it was thriving and doing well. I know Brian's talked about how well this one did for him in Oklahoma before. And definitely impressive on how heat tolerant this plant is for being variegated like it is.
Oh, I'm a huge fan of this one. I mean, I think it says a lot about it that we were on fire for this plant in 09, and I still consider it like cutting edge right now, you know, in 2022. So it's one that we've helped popularize there, but it's one that is popular for good reason. So guys, let us know in the comment section what's your favorite plant from today's 10 at 10. Also, let us know where you're watching from. We really appreciate our international community. So many people are tuning in from abroad, and we just love that. It really helps build our community. We apologize we can't ship to you, but it means the world that you watch these shows. Let us know if you're liking our new programming. We've been trying something new this week. We've been bringing you more premieres. We're going to structure our programming so we have regularly scheduled programming here on MrMaple. It helps us be more creative, and I think it also helps us turn the best content out for you guys. So let us know if you're liking that new programming. It's going to be airing all this week, and we'll be looking at what things we like the best and trying to improve on those. So we're going to try to make each of those shows a defined thing unto themselves, and really just make each thing we do the most quality we can for you guys, because we really appreciate you tuning in.
And while this is 10 items getting listed on today's 10 at 10, there are 10 more that we didn't talk about. And so there could be some japonicums in there. There could be some other cool plants that we didn't talk about. So make sure you go on MrMaple.com at 10 a.m. and make sure you check out quick.
Hey guys, we are doing a fall open house here at MrMaple. We love interacting with you guys and getting out here in person and seeing you face to face. So we wanted to do one more open house. It may be our last open house of the year. It'll definitely be one of our last in leaf. So come out. Hopefully we'll have a little bit of fall color. We're going to be doing that October 21st, that Friday, and October 22nd, that Saturday. Now the Saturday one is going to be a little shortened. We're going to be cutting that one off at 12. So Saturday's going to go 8 to 12, and Friday's going to go 8 to 4. So come see us in October. We're hoping for a little bit of fall color going on at that point. I think it's going to be a great time to be in the greenhouse, hopefully a little cooler by then, and we'll all be ready to garden by fall. I mean, it's a great time to plant maples. Come see us in person. I think you're going to enjoy it. And let us know if you're liking this new style of programming we're bringing here on MrMaple.
And for the open house, go to MrMaple.com. We'll have information at the top about our open house. Make sure you go there. That'll tell you directions on how to get here. It'll have the address, and it'll also tell you the times on each of those days. We really appreciate you all watching today's video. We work very hard every single week to bring you cool plants every single Tuesday. It takes a lot of work between filming, between finding the plants, between making sure you've got enough plants of each set. And we work very hard to try to get this out there and make them available to you in as high a quantity as we possibly can.
Hey, make sure to sub, guys. It's one small click for you, but it means a lot to us. It goes a long way toward helping our channel grow. If everybody watching subscribes, we'll be blowing up, guys. We really appreciate that. And I love everybody hopping in these premieres, guys. You just don't know how much that means to me. It's so fun, the community we're building there, and it just gets us fired up to do what we do. So we really appreciate you being a part of that.
Take care.
God bless.
And have a great day.